Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to you, Mr. David, the school governing body, as well as the SMT. So, before we begin our processions, I'd like to leave the grade 8s with something to think about. It goes, there was a small boy who, when walking down the street one day, found a bright copper penny. He was so excited that he found money and it didn't cost him anything. This experience led him to spend the rest of his days walking with his head down, eyes wide open, looking for treasure. During his lifetime, he found 296 pennies, 48 nickels, 19 dimes, 16 quarters, 2 half dollars, and 1 crinkled dollar bill. This amounts to about plus minus 100 rand. He got money for nothing, except that he had missed a breathless beauty of 31,369 sunsets, the colorful splendor of 157 rainbows. He never saw white clouds drifting across the blue skies, and in various wondrous formations, birds flying, sun shining, the smiles of 1,000 people passing by. So now, grade 8s, I would like to challenge each and every one of you to take what the school offers and make the best of it. Don't just exist, live. Thank you.
As I said, good evening parents, good evening members of the governing body, good evening staff, good evening grade 8s and any other new learners at the school. May I please congratulate all the parents for choosing Roosevelt High as their school of choice. We feel very honored that we're going to be part of your child's development over hopefully the next 5 years, maybe a little longer in some cases. But thank you very much for choosing Roosevelt High School. I would like to introduce the management team of the school to you, so that in future, if you get an email or you speak to a voice on the phone, you can put a picture, a face to that voice, and you can relate to that person. First of all, I would like to introduce an SNT and grade managers. I'd just like you to stand and face the parents so that they can see you as best as possible in the light. But please can I ask Mr. DeVet, the principal, most of you have seen Mr. DeVet and met him already, so I'm not going to ask him to stand at this stage because he's going to be addressing you a little bit later. I am Mrs. DeVout, I'm the deputy principal. I also have the beautiful job of I'm in charge of discipline in the school. Mr. DeVet will speak about discipline at a later stage. I'm also in charge of staffing. I'm also the head of department of life sciences, natural sciences, physical sciences, and sports and exercise sciences. Mr. Ferreira is the next deputy principal. Mr. Ferreira is also a deputy principal and is head of department of Afrikaans and EGD. He's also in charge of marketing and advertising, and many of you have met Mr. Ferreira while he was visiting the primary schools last year already. Our third deputy principal, Ms. Venter. Ms. Venter is also head of Department of Business Studies, Accounting, EMS. She's also in charge of, to summarize it, all the admin in the school, whether it be principal, whether it be timetable, everything in the school. And she's also in charge of the cell phone rules and regulations, as well as the late rules and regulations, which she will be addressing at a later stage. Ms. Heke is the fourth deputy principal. She is also the head of English as well as the academic head of the school. The rest of the SMT, Ms. Bantabonse, and some of the heads of department are also grade managers. I'm just going to introduce them because there are new parents whose learners are not in grade 8. So just so that you know that this is the person you have to contact in case there's a problem. Ms. Bantabonse, sorry if you could stand again. Ms. Bantabonsi is Head of Department of Consumer Studies, Tourism and Religion. She is in charge of school uniforms, so that is the lady you must contact if you have a problem or query about especially skinny jeans and hairstyles. And she is also the grade 12 grade manager. Ms. Duplessis is the Head of Department of Maths and Maths Literacy. She's also in charge of the LTSM, which means all the allocation of textbooks to your darlings. Ms. Duplessis is also the grade 10 grade manager. Then Mr. Lombard. Mr. Lombard is Head of Department of Visual Arts, and he is also the sports master of the school. Mr. Mortimer, I think, is busy with the department meeting. Mr. Mortimer is the Head of Social Sciences, Geography, History, and Hospitality. I can't introduce you to him because the department is having a meeting on the other side of the school and he is managing that at the moment. Ms. Valley. Ms. Valley is Head of Department of Life Orientation, Design, Arts and Culture. She's also head of all the cultural activities, and she is the grade 9 grade manager. Mr. Diaz. You mustn't mess with Mr. Diaz when it comes to fundraising. Please stay standing so they can take a mental picture of you. Mr. Diaz is Head of Department of CAT and Technology. He is going to contact you. Well, he's already contacted you, so if your darlings haven't given you the form, please ask them for it tonight regarding fundraising. And a later stage is in a cultural activity, which he is also the driving force and the main person behind that. Then the other heads of department, grade managers, Mr. Chickday, and Ms. van Jaarsveld, they're standing on the side there, right on the side. They are the grade managers for the grade 8s. Not Mr. Chickday, I'm sorry, Mr. Padiachi, poor Mr. Chickday, I'm sorry, Mr. Padiachi and Ms. van Jaarsveld, Ms. Ziki, you affected me. Mr. Padiachi and Ms. van Jaarsveld, they're the grade 8 grade managers, and for all of you, those are probably the most important people that you're going to meet tonight, because they are your caregivers of your children while they're on our school property. So that is the mommy and the daddy of the grade 8s, and 9s, and 10s, and 11s, and 12s. So if your learners do not choose to extend their school career, they will be the mommy and daddy for the next 5 years. Ms. Hall and Mr. Miles, Ms. Hall and Mr. Miles is the grade 11 grade managers. Mr. Foster is the matric grade manager with Ms. Batibonse. Mr. Duran is the grade 10 grade manager with Ms. Duplessis. And then Mr. Minnie and Ms. Valley, if you could please stand up. Mr. Minnie and Ms. Valley, I've already introduced Ms. Valley as the HOD, but her and Mr. Minnie are the 2 grade managers that are in charge of the grade 9s. Before I hand it over the mic back to Junior, just to give you a very, very, very brief explanation, the grade managers, as I said to you, in parentis logos, they are your children's parents once they're on the school grounds. So if there's a problem with the school, that is your first port of call. You can phone them. If you can't get hold of them, you can email them. If you can't get hold of them, you can leave a message. Please just don't get angry if they don't phone you back immediately. They all have full timetables, but they will contact you as soon as possible, and they will deal with the problem that you are having. Doesn't matter how slight the problem is, they have to deal with it. Thank you very much.
To add on to what Ma'am just said now, I'm going to call them all up individually. We're going to start with Mr. Lombard.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful night to be outside. And as that may be, I'm the person in charge of all sports, and these are the activities that happen outside. So that this is the best time of the day, I guess. As far as we are this year so far, you should be all aware of the sporting activities for this term. I would just like to reiterate that the first one is fitness. Then we've got cricket, boys and girls, netball, rugby, hockey, boys and girls, archery, kayaking, chess, tennis for boys and girls. These are the activities that are currently running for term 1. It is also very important that you reiterate to your learners that it is compulsory for grade 8 to attend at least one sporting activity per term. We also have some cultural activities happening throughout the year, which is choir, debating, drama, public speaking, and in from term 2 we'll have the brass band up and running. So there is a couple of nice cultural activities to be part of. During term 2 we've got fitness still, and then we've got rugby, netball, hockey, boys and girls, which will be in season. Chess, archery, kayaking, cross-country, cycling, and then we'll have pre-season athletics and boys and girls soccer for term 3. Please make sure that your learners do attend these practices and be part of the sport, because it helps with their growth within the school as a whole. Parents, I would just like to make you aware as well that we do offer sporting tours for the under 15 age group and as well as the first team age group. So the under 15 age group will be the first age group that under 14s will aspire to, which will be next year. And it's quite nice sports tour to attend. It's at Camp Discovery. And once they get to first team level, we'll take them to Margate. Also, it is compulsory for all grade 8s to attend home matches as part of the support. We do not keep the learners unnecessary, and before the other school arrives, we do have classes in which they can do either mathematics or an English activity to keep them busy and as well as to help them in the academic way. After the school has arrived, we do escort the learners down to the pavilion so that they can support the current home team for Roosevelt in their participation in the sport. Please, parents, I would also just like to mention that if your child cannot attend the practice, that the learner must please speak to their coach involved there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lombard. And I'd like to call up Ms. Bantubonze.
Good evening, parents. I'm Ms. Bantubonze, and as Ms. Nivot has said, I'm the one who deals with the uniform alongside Mr. Lombard. I particularly deal with the girls' uniform, but I will, however, be talking or touching on the boys' uniform as well this evening. I'd just like to address the grade 8s first before I talk to the parents. One thing that I can commend you of grade 8 is that as you've started the year, we haven't had many uniform infringements. However, it is a reality that as you grow older in the school, you start questioning certain things, and one of them is uniform regulations. Right. Let me tell you, we've heard it all. Ma'am, why must I look like this? What does this have to do with the way I look? Ma'am, no, I'm here for education. Ma'am, no, this, that, and other. Guys, the uniform regulations will not change. You will bend to the Uniform Code of Conduct. Yes? Okay. Parents, why do we do this? Why are we so strict on uniform? This is to assist us with the core business of the school, which is learning and teaching. If the learners are not dressed correctly, we will not be able to teach them because the discipline falls apart. I know that it will be addressed a bit later on in the speech, so I will not touch on discipline, but it really does assist when the learners are looking prim and proper and representing the school well in society as well in how they dress. I'd like to clarify a few things regarding uniforms. So the girls' uniform, the length of the skirts, parents, it's actually appropriate at the moment because they are starting grade 8. However, some of your darlings, they love it when they're wearing a little bit of a mini skirt here and there. Please, would you also just assist us in that at home? They must not fold their skirts up. Their skirts are appropriate length, so they are not supposed to be folded up. Grade 8, no skirts folded up, please. And the seams, when you are making the seam for the grade 8s, please, would you make sure that it's not actually that short? Would like the length of the uniform to be at least above knee length. The second thing that seems to be a bit of a confusion is the shirts that are tucked in. We've explained to the kids, but I think it's also important for the parents to also note, as it's stipulated in the Code of Conduct, that the shirts are not supposed to be tucked in, it's supposed to be untucked. And if they're wearing a blazer, the collar of the shirt is supposed to be over the blazer, please. If you're unsure, please refer back to the Code of Conduct and it will guide you there. As for the boys, the pants that the boys are wearing, it's slim fit. Some of you parents have bought pants that are a bit big and you've got to tailor them. We do not accept skinny pants, Ms. Nivo said skinny jeans, because sometimes they look like skinny jeans, right? It looks like someone has applied the pants on rather than worn them. The aim is that they look nice and neat in their slim fits, not skinny pants, please. So no zips at the bottom. If the child can't wear the pants properly and they have to put a zip, then we know already that's an alarm. Another massive thing that we are doing now at the school is we are saying the whole school is required to wear a South African flag badge when they're wearing the blazers. Those are sold at the various grade managers. So please, if your child is wearing the Roosevelt blazer, they are required to have the South African flag, which is sold here at the school for 20 Rand, please, parents. And finally, the compulsory item for grade 8 as well, the school bags. Those are sold at, of course, our uniform distributors. Please, would you make sure that you get those for the grade 8s? We are creating a uniformity amongst our learners that they all look nice and neat, wearing the same uniform, carrying the same bags, and looking and representing us well in society. If you have any questions regarding this, please, parents, you're more than welcome to call the school. I need the parents to understand that we are not punishing the kids when we are saying they must wear full uniform. It is not a punishment, grade 8. We do not hate you. In fact, we love you, so we want you to look good in society for people to see you looking good, right? So it's not a punitive thing. Please, parents, don't, when you are engaging us with uniform matters, we're not fighting, we are fixing children and we are raising leaders in society which need to look a certain way and behave a certain way. And a uniform plays a big part in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patmote. For cell phones and late, I'd like to call up Ms. Venter.
Good evening, parents, SGB, SMT, and grade 8s. I'm the Grinch that stole your happiness. Let's start with the lights, slightly less sensitive than the cell phones. At Roosevelt, Mr. DeBe's going to address it later on as well. We've got a zero tolerance towards late coming. Simple fact, every time your child is late, they're missing out on academics. We pride ourselves on the fact that we are an academic school, we want the best results. For that to happen, your child needs to be here on time. Your code of conduct states they need to be seated in the quad at 7:37. The top gate also locks at that time. If your child is not in the school, they are deemed late. They will then receive a detention for every single late day. Ms. Van Bonse said, now, we're not punishing. Unfortunately with that, it's a corrective measure, let's call it that. If you are stuck, if there is an accident, if there was drama at home, something like that, please pick up the phone and let us know. We tell the kids that we know everything, but we don't always. We need you to inform us. So please, if we can work together, if your child is late, they're also not just denying themselves their academic right, but they are disturbing other learners. We cannot have a child coming into the class every 2 minutes. So please, if we can work together on that. Then cell phones. Roosevelt is a cell phone-free environment, and the teachers love it. The reason behind this, you were not part of that decision. It was a very long deliberation that we had to take, and we decided that cell phones are at the cause of various discipline problems. We therefore decided completely cell phone free environment. And majority of our discipline problems disappeared overnight. But now your darlings are very intelligent. They find ways and means. There's lunch boxes and in socks and things like that. You see the child walking a little bit skew, then you can know there's a phone in the shoe. Please, we need the parents to support us on this. You want your child to be safe. If they have a need to phone you at school, they go to their grade managers. They can come to the office. They can ask my ladies, we will contact you. Your child, if they leave the school with their cell phone in their hand, and let's face it, they do it, earphones in their ears, they don't even know that someone is coming up to them. They are making themselves a target. And while they are in class, they should be academic. And when they have a cell phone, you know at home, you have to ask them 10 times to do their chores because they're busy on their phones. It's the same in class. So please, parents, we ask your assistance. We are working on a program that the kids will be able to rent a cell phone locker. But at this stage, it's a cell phone free environment unless there's an extreme emergency. They sign the phone in at the front office with a letter from you explaining why they need it. Saying, I need to tell my mom if I'm feeling sick is not a valid excuse. That's why Mrs. van Jaarsveld and Mr. Pariachi is there. So please, I beg of you, if you can assist us with that, it's going to be so much easier. Grade 8s, Ms. Van der Bonse said, uniform rules will not disappear, cell phones will not re-enter Roosevelt. Sorry. Thank you.
With regards to academics, which we pride ourselves with, I'd like to call up Ms. Hickey.
Morning, parents. Oh, no, it's not morning anymore. Gosh, it's been an exceptionally long day. Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon, SMT, SGB, and all the grade 8s. Welcome to this evening. As Junior correctly said, I'm going to address you very briefly on the academics of the school. The first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to correct a myth that is going around, that has been going around, that is frequently cited on news channels and Facebook and so on, and that is that you only have to achieve 30% in order to pass. Please, parents, I think you know perfectly well that that is not the case. And it's certainly not the case at Roosevelt. So at the end of every term, when you receive your report, you will notice that any subject for which your child has achieved less than 50% will be circled beautifully in red. And what we are telling you is that that mark is really just not acceptable. You see, we don't work on the average, parents. We're not looking for the mediocre. We want our children to stand up. We want them to excel. We want them to be better than others. That's the only way that they can really succeed in life. There is so much competition today. So we aim for at least 50% across the board in every single subject. So now you might be asking yourself, well, is it possible? Because I'm fairly certain that there are grade 8 learners sitting here who did not receive 50% across the board in grade 7. Yes, it is possible. First of all, we are of the firm belief that anything is possible if you want it badly enough. So grade 8s, you need to want this. And parents, you need to want it for them, enough to ensure that they do what they're supposed to do. So what are they supposed to do? Grade 8s, you're supposed to be at school with your books, all your books. You're supposed to have done your homework. Now parents, children are very clever, and I'm sure you've experienced this before as well. They come home, you say, you arrive home, you say to them, so, have you done your homework? Yes, I've done my homework. Okay. Parents, your children are still young. You are still in control. You are allowed to check their homework, and in fact you must. The other favorite one is, we didn't get homework today. Well, parents, you know what? It's possible that they did not get formal homework, but there is always work to be done at home. And the very first thing that needs to be done at home is that they must revise whatever they did at school that day. You see, if they leave it until they have to write a test or an exam, it's gone. They need to reinforce the work on that day. And that does more than just reinforce it. It shows them where they might have understood something in class, they're not understanding it anymore. Now, grade 8s, you need to understand that, and I'm going to use understand a lot now. If you are not understanding something, that not understanding doesn't miraculously become understanding just because a bit of time has passed. In fact, it's the contrary. What is not understood remains not understood. And then what you're going to try and do is learn something new on top of what you didn't already understand, and therefore that won't be understood either. So therefore we have extra lessons. We have teachers available who are here to assist you all. The instant you don't understand something, you need to address your teachers. You need to ask. Otherwise, you're trying to build something on a very, very shaky foundation, and we know what happens when foundations are not very strong. The other thing that is imperative every day, please parents, your children have to be reading. There is no other way to academic success than to be a reader. At our school, I'm sure you know already, that your children are required to have a reading book with them every single day. So for us to come across grade 8s, where there's a specific reading period and they don't have a novel, it's terribly annoying. So what does reading do? Well, at our school, as you know, the language of learning and teaching is English. Therefore, if children are not competent enough to study in English, every single subject is going to be a problem. So once you start reading, you start improving one's comprehension, one's vocabulary, and gradually everything then becomes a whole lot easier. So grade 8s, you need to be reading, and you need to be reading every day, and not only at school, parents. I'd like to make one last point, and this is going to intersect with Mr. DeWett's speech. We have already found children in grade 8 who seem to find it acceptable to make learning difficult for other children in their class. I'm not going into detail with this, except to say to you that one of the reasons why some children misbehave in class is because they're not coping academically. If that is the case, grade 8s, it is not a crime to be battling a little bit. The crime is not to ask for assistance. And please remember that once you've disrupted lessons often enough, the SGB of the school can request that you be removed from the school. So grade 8s, parents, having said all of that, I trust that this year is going to be a fabulous academic year, and I'm looking forward to seeing the first set of results. And I really don't think you're going to disappoint us. Thank you.
I'd like to call on Mr. Hughes to tell us more about fundraising.
Good evening, parents. Good evening, grade 8s. Mr. Diaz, I'm here to discuss fundraising with you tonight. A few points that I wanted to discuss. The first one is, why do we do fundraising at the school? The most important reason, I think, to start with is that fundraising, the amount that we anticipate to get in, is calculated into the annual budget of the school. So when the school governing body and the auditors sit down to compile the budget, they actually include the amount for fundraising in that budget. So it's important that we achieve that. So why do we do this? The reason is that it helps us to keep the school fees at an affordable rate. So I'm sure when you were looking for a school, you would have seen school fees in the area are a little bit higher than ours. And fundraising is one of the reasons why we are able to keep our fees low. Also, as a parent, I understand, I have 2 kids in primary school. I understand how school fees can be challenging, so this is also why our school tries to keep them as low as possible for you. Also, the reason we get the money in is fundraising allows us to fund and grow the school. So we have projects, for example, school kits, we have extensions to the buildings, renovations, all these things that come out of the fundraising that we do for the school. So how does the fundraising in our school work? When I took over fundraising 2 years ago, my mission was to make it fun for the kids. So I tried very hard to accomplish that task. Every time we have a fundraiser, we attach it to an event. So for this first term, or the first fundraiser that we're doing, we're having the Amazing Race, which means at the end of the fundraising season, there will be the Amazing Race event that all the kids will participate in. In the fundraising events as well, we include prizes. So these prizes can either be something that all the learners get, and in more of an incentive. In that case, it tends to be something slightly smaller so that we can afford to give to all the kids. What we also do is have raffles, and that's where we give the larger prizes. So this year for the Amazing Race, we've got a set of Beats headphones. The kids will know what those are. So they're worth 4,500 Rand. It's a fantastic prize to possibly win for one of the learners of the school. So for the rest of the year, the plans for fundraising are, you would have received the letter that we sent out right in the beginning of the year. This was explaining everything that was going to happen with the fundraising for the year. We did this to try assist the parents with budgeting and planning. We have 3 fundraisers in total for the year. Our main one is the first one now, the Amazing Race, and then we have 2 slightly smaller ones. All in all, from now to the end of the year, we are asking for a 400 Rand contribution in total from the parents. And obviously there is space to contribute more if you'd like to, but we're asking that parents can help us with that amount, please. Then the Amazing Race fundraising has started, so if your kids haven't given you the letter, thank you, Ms. Newman, for my introduction. I'm really not mean, I promise you, I'm not like that. This is the first time I've been described that way. Please, can you speak to your kids and help them with the Amazing Race fundraising. With regards to the fundraising as well, I'm very, passionate, or don't believe that parents should be doing fundraising by themselves. I think it's an opportunity for us to leverage the community. I know when my child does fundraising, I contribute a few Rand, 30, 50 Rand, and I ask them to go and get the rest from people that live in our complex, for example, or grannies and aunties and that sort of stuff, and they do quite well. So when everybody in the community is contributing a small amount, it's less of a burden on us as parents. So just to finish, last thing, in the future, so maybe next year you might find yourself saying, is it fundraising again? Didn't we just do fundraising? Haven't they got enough money? So I would like to end by saying that fundraising is not about making money, it's about making a difference. And when you contribute, you are helping us make a difference in your children's lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. Last but not least, I'd like to call up Mr. Ferreira.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to speak about the bus routes briefly. Currently, we have 3 buses available at Roosevelt High School. The first bus route, we only have 2 spaces available, is on the West Rand. It starts at Discovery Primary School, then at Gustav Preller Primary School, then at Constantia Primary School, Christian de Wet, and then Esperanza. The second one is in northern suburbs. This bus route starts at Bergbron Spa, then it goes to Panorama Primary School, then Cliffview Primary School and Northcliffe Primary School. The bus route used to be, that final stop used to be the Audi garage at Cresta, but that has now moved to the third bus route, which is the Audi garage at Cresta Centre, then Robin Hills, then Aya Griffith, and then Blairgowrie Primary School. Now, we have decided to do it like that, specifically because some of you have siblings. grade 8s, and some of them still go to those primary schools. So when the parents drop off the siblings, they can also drop off grade 8s there, and you can catch the bus and come to school. Now the buses unfortunately are not for free. I wish we could have done that, but it's not possible. The bus tickets go for 900 rands a month. That's for a return trip. And unfortunately, if it's a single trip or if you are closer, then it's still 900 rands a month. You pay for a seat on the bus. And believe me, parents, this just covers the monthly installment on the bus and the payment of the drivers. We don't make money out of the buses, but this is a service that we definitely give to our learners. And now the next thing that I need to speak to you about, and this is sorry, let me just finish up with, once you've paid 900 rands, you need to give your learner, your child, proof of payment. It's important that I need to mention this, and they need to present it at reception. It's on a first come, first served basis. So once they present this to the lady at reception, they will receive a ticket. Now back to the more uncomfortable topic, and that's drugs. Now, every single parent in this school, and every single parent should be worried about drugs in South Africa, because I tell you one thing, and this is a promise. There's not a single school in South Africa, and I include some primary schools as well, where there hasn't been instances of drug abuse. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I spoke to you the last time at your various schools, I promised you that drug abuse is viewed as very serious in our school. And I promise you this, we will leave no stone unturned in order to eradicate this. We would like to make the school a true drug-free zone. So, according to the South African Schools Act, we are allowed, under reasonable suspicion, to search your child and to conduct a drug test. Now, what happens when your child is tested positive? We notify you immediately. By law, we have to do that. And then the second thing is, we then set up a meeting where I sit with you, along with the grade manager, and we have a very candid discussion about your child's future, about where your child needs to go in the future, and the decisions that he or she has to make. Now, sometimes learners make the right decision, and we help them, we give them the support and the intervention strategy in order to rectify that behavior. But sometimes that doesn't happen, and we do follow-up tests, and when your child is tested again, and it's tested positive because we do follow-ups, then we have an SMT intervention meeting, which is a bit more serious. Once we do a third test and your child is tested again and cannot rectify his or her behavior, we go full on SGB, that's the people in the second row there. They do not take nonsense, because it's their children as well who sit here and who have to be safe. And we are very, very successful in getting rid of them. I promise you this, grade 8s, if anyone comes to you and offers drugs to you, you need to come and tell me. Because if I find out that you have been offered drugs, whether it's anything, and you haven't told us, you will also be in trouble. Do you understand? Good, excellent. Right. We have found that with many things, the department tends to turn a blind eye. But when it comes to drug abuse, and especially drug dealing, then the department gives us their full support. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you that my biggest concern here is your child's safety. My biggest concern. And I'm pretty sure that you will support us, and when that dreaded call comes, that you will support us 100% and do whatever we can to rectify the problem. Thank you very much.
Now, on a lighter note, I'd like to invite the Executive Council of the school in their beautiful white places to come share a bit of their experiences here in my school and something the grade 8s can take from as well. Firstly, I'd like to call up some Kelo Begu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and grade 8s. Today I would just like to speak you guys a few words of mine. I am Sam Keloping, the deputy head boy of Roosevelt High School. I remember 5 years ago when I first started, I was just a 13-year-old boy who knew nothing about themselves. But throughout the years I spent here, I got to learn so much about myself and grow as an individual. The opportunities offered at this school are so remarkable, as I got to discover that I can play rugby. This was all due to the wonderful sports coaches and teachers that are available at that school. Parents, I can assure you that your children are in good hands. And thank you. May everyone have a blessed night.
Thank you, sir. Next, I'd like to call up Lee.
Good evening to our school daddy, Mr. DeWitt, parents, educators, and learners. I am certain that we've all heard the cliche, respect goes a long way. It isn't just a saying. Respect is one of the 5 pillars of education right here at Roosevelt High. Lawrence Stern, an Irish novelist, said, respect for ourselves guides our morals. Respect for others guides our manners. I believe that I am where I am this evening, in this very moment, simply because of respect. Respect towards my teachers as well as respect towards my peers. Grade 8 learners, apply these simple rules. Listen, encourage, congratulate, be helpful, and say thank you. This will make you happier and more successful. With an open mind, show appreciation and respect to the differences and unique talents of each person. This will strengthen your relationships with your teachers and with your community of learners. Use your time well and make most of the opportunities that are presented to you. Thank you.
Next up, parents, I'd like to call up Teresa Manamela.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Teresa Manamela, one of the deputies of Roosevelt High School. Privileged to be standing in front of you today as I enlighten you about the great achievements and the great decision you have made to come bring your child to Roosevelt High School that continues to grow in all areas. Despite the great commitments to the growth of our academics, Roosevelt High School has also made one learn many traits needed in the big bad world out there, like inclusion and unity. There are things that we've learned during sports tours, and cultural tours that we've went on. These tours are a huge highlight for me because besides the new skills that you learn, you also learn about the new people, personalities, and the interests that are out there. It's an intriguing and fun experience for your children, and they will grow as people at Roosevelt High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. And another fierce young woman, I'd like to call up Robert Masote.
Ladies and gentlemen and grade 8s, my name is Robin Masanti and I will be giving you a little insight to my experience at Roosevelt High School. There are many spectacular ones, but the one that stuck out the most has to be the opportunity that the school has given me to broaden my leadership skills as an executive RCL member and one of the deputy head girls. This is no easy job, but like the saying goes in Afrikaans, jy moet haar op jou tande hê. This opportunity gave me a great confidence. The school allows you to grow as an individual. They see potential in you and are willing to go the extra mile. At Roosevelt High School, we strive for excellence. And up to this point, I've enjoyed my experience and I'm sure your kids will too. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And now coming up, we've got Scott Gilbert, the gentle one.
Good evening, Mr. DeWitt, staff, SMT, school governing body, parents, and especially our grade 8. My journey started a mere 5 years ago, which seemed like yesterday. But time flies by so quickly, and before you know it, you might be standing where I'm standing today. A good education forms a basis for a prosperous future. The journey that you started at Roosevelt will certainly put you in a prime position to achieve. However, this only ends well if you work hard and do what is required. Our well-qualified and experienced teachers are always willing to assist. Once again, welcome to Roosevelt High. Work hard, respect your teachers and your environment, and you will achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Scotty. I'd like to call up Mama Loteta.
Good evening, Mr. David, senior management team, parents, and my fellow students. 16th of February 2015, 190 bright-eyed students stood outside the foyer of the office, holding each other's hands and eyes fixed forward to where the best years of their lives were to begin. I was among them. Cliched, yes, but the truth, this is the truth. As I started my high school career, never did I imagine half of my experience would have been at Roosevelt High School. That is not the only thing that makes me proud. As an entire school, we've gone from strength to strength, improving over the years to reach new heights. Besides the structural additions, we have recently implemented a mentorship program. At first, not everyone agreed, but slowly a sense of unity and support developed as each group got closer. And with that mentorship program, it has been a highlight last year because it taught me to fight for what you believe in, and that is where I am today because of the mentorship program. This is a shining example of the care that is at the core of our school. And grade 8, remember, there is a time and a place for everything. Thank you.
In Mr. Devet's words, there's a time and a place for everything. And now is the time for our choir to blow you guys away.
Malaika,
other parents know what I was talking about. I'd like to call up Mr. Devet, our principal.
Good evening, dear parents, everybody that's here. A special word of welcome, of course, to you grade 8s, to members of the SMT, to the school governing body. I see the chairperson also here. Thank you, sir. And then we also have a very special guest here at the back, actually the circuit manager of the school, Ms. Cindy. Ma'am, thank you that you grace us with your presence tonight. May I say, Ms. Cindy's circuit we got the honor of being the best circuit in Johannesburg North, and very, very well done, and thank you for your leadership, ma'am. Glad to say also that Roosevelt was one of the 10 top schools in the district. Yes. Dear parents, those of you that I haven't met, looking forward to meet you. Actually at prize givings, not in my office as such. But I really, on a serious note, thank you so much. You know, our hall is too small to accommodate all of you. Of course, in anticipation, I don't know you, but I knew by my interactions with your kids that all of you would be here tonight. Thank you. It says a lot. I want to give you a map on the road forward. But there's two things there's always a flip side of a coin. I always want to put your hearts at rest why your child is actually here. And the one thing that you must understand when you leave tonight is that your child is actually in good hands. Therefore, unfortunately, we need rules and guidance so that we all as a collective understand what is the way forward. I strongly do believe in the 5 pillars of our school. I hope you are aware of it. We taught the grade 8s that. So I'm going to touch a bit on that. I can promise you, you were not part of the development thereof. We really started with our RCL then to ask them what should be the core business of a school where you want to be. We had long discussions with the management and the staff and the rest of the learners of the school and the SGB. And we came up with 5 words that more or less form this way that you will walk with me for the next 5 years. The first one, and not that one is more important than the other, is respect. Now grade 8, I give you my word tonight in front of your parents. My staff will treat you with respect. That's a given. Even if you, and you surely will annoy us, I understand that. And yes, we will manage that. But as I've said, there's a flip side of this coin, and grade 8s. The one thing that I really, really do insist on is that you will treat the staff of Roosevelt High School with respect. Always. The same respect will be bestowed on the RCL, because instructions from them to you is actually an instruction from myself. So grade 8s, but I know it's also given that 98% of you are going to do this. I know this for a fact. But I need to have this conversation so that informed all fairness, that everybody are duly informed beforehand. Respect also goes to everything that we do at this school. And Mr. Diaz touched on the fundraising and that sort of thing. I believe in fun days. I believe that your high school career must also be fun. There is a time and there is a place for everything. And we will give you ample opportunities in this school to have fun. Because I believe if you're happy, you excel, and you actually do well. The second thing that we believe in is excellence. Now this is where my teachers play a vital role. We try to appoint the best possible teachers we can find out there, and we're happy and we're fortunate that we do find them. The teachers at this school do their job, which they get paid for. That is to teach and to be in class every day from my SMT is here with me in the mornings, 6:30. They love it. They are morning people, so I know they love it to be early with me here at school. So we start that time at school and we teach until contact time is over. But once that is finished, the staff at this school goes, you see them on the sports field, you see them on the stages. But more than that, you all receive the timetable of extra classes in the school that's happening for free. Anybody is welcome, always. You see my staff here tonight. They are hardworking people, and I actually respect them for that. The one thing that I say to parents, I will never force any learner, actually grade 8, to attend an extra class. Because that's unfair towards the teachers. Because they've been teaching the whole day, they've earned their salary, but they stay after school willingly to assist you. And in an extra class, we want to work with the 10 learners who choose to be there. That's my only condition. You only choose to be in extra class, then it's provided for you. And I can tell you, it doesn't matter where your mark lies. By just attending an extra class, you can again, if you are on a B, you will get an A. And also, I'm proud to say that at Roosevelt High School, staff are more or less not allowed to be sick, I think. You plan your flu in the holiday or have a long weekend, so my staff is not sick, they kind of expected to be here. If there's really a crisis, I can't think of a good reason, deaf, perhaps of themselves, perhaps, I don't know. If something like that happens, you phone me and we will arrange a replacement. So the message to you parents is, if an educator is perhaps not here, if that should happen, there will be a student or a fellow teacher or there will be work in the class done. That's why that you always have a reader with you, as Mrs. Iki said, and you read, even if you wait for that other person to arrive. I would like to see you when I leave in the afternoons and I see you at the bus stop. Last year, I actually saw a learner waiting for the bus, actually reading a book. That's what I want to see. That's what we should achieve in the end of the day. So we have that. And dear parents, the teachers at this school are well prepared. We set proper exams, proper tests. That's one of the main tasks of my HODs. Tests and exams are moderated. The marking of the teachers are checked and rechecked. There will never be a problem as far as this is concerned under my guidance at Roosevelt High School. That I can promise you. Then, the third pillar that we have is commitment. If we do something here, we commit to that. I commit myself tonight to provide your child with the best possible education he or she can get. And my teachers walk this walk with me. So we are committed at school to do it in class and outside of class. That's why, willingly, my teachers go on sports tours. They forfeit their whole holiday. They do that. They stay longer. You have heard the list of extramural activities available at the school. I can't force a teacher to do this, but my staff does it. And we do it because we believe there's benefit in this for your children. And actually also our children, because I do view them as my responsibility the moment they do enter the school gate. Then we also believe in inclusion. And this is the one point, unfortunately, with the grade 8s, that's not always working so well from the start. Often, and I've had one case so far, we have experienced a case of racism amongst the grade 8s. It's out. It will not happen. You will be dealt with severely. There's a few things that really annoys me beyond belief. The other thing is bullying. But on the positive side, grade 8s, if you ever feel bullied by anyone, you immediately go to your grade manager. Or you come to me or any other SMT member that you get to know, or teacher. But if you are the bully doing that, you have a problem coming. I will play a certain song for you in a quad. The grade 8s heard it this morning. I played a certain song. I was looking for a learner I knew he wasn't there anymore. It's just a message in that. But, dear parents, then perhaps the last pillar that we stand for is empathy. Now, I don't want you to leave tonight to think, hell, this is a school with rules and learners must do this and this and this and this and not do this. It's not that. I believe in empathy. I believe in giving people opportunities, the best possible opportunities we can provide. In grade 8s, tonight I want to invite you, if you have a problem of any sort, if you're still at this stage, don't have a textbook, and there's a reason why you can't have a textbook, for instance, please come to me, or go to your grade manager if you feel more comfortable. We will provide you with that. If you made a sports team, and in your house there's perhaps not money to go on that sports team, or if you need a tennis ball, you come to me, you speak to me. Where possible, we will provide. No learner should be hungry at school. It's a sensitive issue. I do understand life happens. Parents, if something like that happens, come to me, I will handle it sensitively. My grade managers will handle it sensitively. If you feel more comfortable, go to them. The last thing that I want is a learner to suffer in silence. That's not what we want at Roosevelt High School. The whole aim of everything that we do and the whole aim of our 5 pillars is that we want to develop people like these people you see behind me that have spoken to you, my choir. Last night we had the prize giving at school. And when I sat there and the letters came up and they were close to me, it was as if I could see a light shining from within. And that's what we all have. It's just how do we develop that? And is the learners today given this opportunity to actually reach their own full self-potential? And that we would like to assist them with, to be able to reach that. Dear parents, few things that curdle my blood, no late coming. We spoke about it. I had a parent actually attacking me that I spoke to a child in grade 8 about late coming. I'm going to say this openly. If you are going to be late every day, I do advise you to go to a school where that is tolerated. We are not going to be soft on that. Because if you're late, you enter a class late, you disrupt the teaching and learning that actually started on time. I'm not going to allow that. And dear parents, traffic is not the reason to be late. Start the journey earlier. Some people are laughing because I come from Pretoria, you know, and I'm on time. So, thank you. But I know you will support. I don't even have to discuss it. Textbooks, if there's a problem, please speak to me. The learners are supporting during sports, but before the time, as we have said earlier, my staff, once again, prepared actual lessons and mathematical equations. And my staff actually help the learners while they wait to support for the other schools to arrive with extra maths and English. On that note, the level of competency in maths especially is a concern. The grade 8s that we get, not all of them, actually most of them are not on the level where they need to be. That's why we are currently reteaching grade 7 work, so that we can build on, because maths is like building blocks, we all know that. But we will do that. I know it's not your mistake. We will do everything in our power to give you the tools to actually also succeed in that subject. Discipline. Grade 8s, in this school, you will abide by the code of conduct. No choice, sorry, as far as that is concerned. The choice is actually to find a place where you don't have to abide by it, and there are schools like that. But if you have chosen to be here, that will be followed, it will be enforced. Because without discipline, dear parents, there's no education at all. It's just a fact of life. But I know I've got the support. I do know I have that. If you have a problem, excuse me, if you have a problem, dear parents, please speak to the grade manager. But I do invite you, if there's something that you would like to discuss with me, You are always welcome. Just understand, I can't always see you immediately. Please make an appointment, and then I will gladly assist you if it's possible at all. We have been talking about cell phones, all the other things. I'm not going to repeat this. What happens if there's a big infringement? We can just give you the process. Because we believe in empathy and inclusion, we don't immediately just punish and that sort of thing. There's systems in the school where we assist, even with a big problem like drug abuse, because as Mr. Ferreira said, the school where they say it's not happening are actually sweeping that underneath the carpet. That I will not do. You can go out of the school now, you can buy drugs at the cafe here at the corner. We've reported it to the police and all the other things. They sell it in daylight. So my staff is actually patrolling there when we have functions and before school and after school. We try to stop that, but we're not always successful as that, because that is concerned. However, my aim is to protect your child that comes here to the school and has not been exposed to that. That's part of my job, and I take that seriously. However, if the wrong thing does happen, the following will happen. You will be contacted immediately. We will first see, is it possible to help? Of course, that's what I want to do. Because, dear parents, they think they've grown up, especially if they get to grade 10, 11 and forward, they think they can make their own choices. They can't. And therefore, I understand that a child can make a mistake. I believe a learner deserves an opportunity then to be taken by the hand. We've been shown what is the right thing to do. And we can do that once or twice, but we obviously can't continue with this. Because in the end, dear grade 8s, life is about choices. And then you will have to choose what is just the nice thing or the popular thing to do, or do you choose what have been shown to you? And that, not your parents or myself or anybody else can do. Because grade 8s, you are now exposed to high school, you are exposed to the big bad world out there. I beg of you, think before you do. Think about your choice that you are going to make. Because to get a proper grade 12 certificate now in the current South Africa that we live in is one of the most important documents that you will have. When we employ teachers now, I start with the grade 12 results. That's where we start. In any job, that's where you understand, that will be your point of departure. And that end certificate in grade 12 start with the choices you are making as a grade 8 pupil. Dear parents, you have received a lot of information tonight. I would like to conclude by saying thank you for entrusting your child to us at Roosevelt High School. I can assure you, myself and my management team and the teachers of this school, and I include the RCL of this school, take your trust to heart. This is a serious calling for us. And we try to guide your children to the best of our abilities. I know I have your support. When I do call in parents to my office when there's a serious infraction, normally, 99% of the cases, parents work with the school. And then there's actually no problem that we can't solve if everybody works together. Education, we all know, the child is in the middle, the school and the parent must support. And you will have all the possible support from this school. Therefore, I thank you for choosing Roosevelt High School. I am looking forward to embarking on a road of success, a road where the children can excel to the best of their abilities. Not everybody shines in the same light. That's why we have so many different opportunities in grade 8. Take these opportunities. Grade 8, you are welcome to Roosevelt High School. I'm glad you're here. I want to wish you well. Dear parents, I'm looking forward to having you all as part of the Roosevelt family, and I really, really want to wish you well. Thank you for listening to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, from my side, this is the last item of the evening. I'd like to call up Mrs. Nivoet.
Sorry, Mr. Vet, we need you back on the podium, please. The last item of the evening is going to be the candle lighting ceremony, where the grade 8s do the pledge of the school to Mr. De Vet, and that's why he's got to stand here, because they're going to pledge it to him. If I can ask the parents, if you could just in your chairs turn so that you can see one of the stands of the grade 8s, so that you can just see the ceremony for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Bianca.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will be leaving you with the last few words. And I hope that these last few words will be an assistance in times of need. Not just for us, ladies and gentlemen, but especially for our grade 8s. Go placidly among the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull as well as the ignorant. They too have their own story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements, as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for higher ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue as well as loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful and strive to be happy. Good night. Thank you, and I hope that you drive safely.